Let's get controversial. Most period dramas are obsessed with ballrooms, aristocrats, and the same old tired love triangles. But real history? It's stranger, messier, and way more riveting than any costume party. So why does everyone ignore the wildest true stories ever put on screen? Is it because the truth hits too close to home? Strap in, because you're about to discover 8 underrated period dramas based on actual events. And trust me, these tales are wilder than any fiction Hollywood could dream up. Alias Grace, 2017. Alias Grace doesn't play nice with your expectations. This is a period drama that ambushes you, refusing to be another polite costume parade. Instead, you're thrust into the mud-splattered streets and icy parlors of 19th century Canada, caught in the crosshairs of one of history's most notorious mysteries, the real-life case of Grace Marks. A teenage Irish immigrant, Grace was accused of murdering her employer and his housekeeper in 1843. A crime that split the public, baffled investigators, and sent rumor mills spinning for decades. The genius of Alias Grace is how it constantly keeps you off balance. Is Grace a cunning mastermind or a pawn? An innocent girl or a sly manipulator hiding behind angelic looks? Margaret Atwood's story, rooted in real court records and interviews, gives you no easy answers, and Sarah Gadon's chilling, enigmatic performance only deepens the intrigue. Every confession comes with a twist. Every memory might be a lie. It's a psychological chess match, and you're never sure who's moving the pieces. Visually, Alias Grace is pure period detail. Bonnets, harsh workhouses, flickering lamps. But beneath the surface, it's about power, class, and the terrifying uncertainty of being a woman with no control over her fate. Real-life Grace Marks remains a mystery to this day. Historians still debate her guilt. The series captures that uncertainty perfectly. It's not here to comfort you with closure, but to challenge you to question everything. If you want a period drama that truly haunts, Alias Grace is it. The Windermere Children, 2020. What happens after the world ends? The Windermere Children takes on one of the most overlooked chapters in World War II history, the story of hundreds of Jewish children, survivors of the Holocaust, who were brought to the English countryside to start again. Imagine teenagers who've lost everything, thrust into the idyllic green of the Lake District. The horror isn't behind them. It clings to every memory, every glance at a quiet lake. This BBC film doesn't sugarcoat their trauma. The children struggle with nightmares, grief, and the disorienting kindness of strangers. Counselors do their best, but healing is messy, unpredictable. Some kids withdraw, others lash out, and friendships become lifelines. The film draws on interviews with the real survivors, infusing every scene with lived truth. You feel the heartbreak and hope in equal measure. The Windermere Children is not a fairy tale of instant recovery. Instead, it's a tough, beautiful portrait of resilience. The scars remain, but new bonds begin to form through soccer, laughter, shared silence. These kids went on to lead extraordinary lives, but the film never lets you forget the price they paid to get there. Why is this drama so underrated? Maybe because it refuses to look away. In a genre obsessed with nostalgia, The Windermere Children stares straight at the darkness and finds something bright on the other side. Women of the Movement, 2022. Some dramas change how you see the world, and Women of the Movement is one of them. It doesn't tiptoe around tragedy. It puts you right in the front row. Based on the true story of Emmett Till and his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, this series dives headfirst into America's ugliest history and comes out blazing with defiance. Mamie's 14-year-old son, Emmett, is brutally killed while visiting relatives in Mississippi. What could have been a footnote in a long line of injustices becomes a national outcry because Mamie refuses to let the story fade. She insists the world see what was done to her boy. She goes public, holds an open casket funeral, and her courage becomes the spark that helps ignite the civil rights movement. The show honors her pain but doesn't let it drown her voice. Instead, it amplifies her unbreakable spirit. The creators worked closely with the Till family to nail every heartbreaking detail, from courtroom battles to the media firestorm that followed. Adrienne Warren's performance as Mamie is a force of nature. She's both utterly devastated and shockingly determined. This is not a comfortable watch, but that's exactly why it matters. Why is Women of the Movement underrated? Maybe because it holds up a mirror and dares America to look. This isn't just a story about loss. It's about the power of refusing to be silent. If you want a period drama that moves you and shakes you awake, this is required viewing. To Walk Invisible, The Bronte Sisters, 2016. You've read their novels, but you've never seen the Brontes like this. To Walk Invisible strips away the literary legend and gives you the gritty, candlelit struggle of three sisters fighting for survival, respect, and their own voices in a world determined to silence them. Charlotte, Emily, and Anne Bronte are stuck in a rundown Yorkshire parsonage, isolated by gossip, poverty, and a self-destructive brother. Society expects them to blend into the wallpaper, but behind closed doors, they're writing stories that will shake the world. This isn't a story about gentle genius. It's about women outsmarting a system built to crush them. The sisters argue, fail, and pick each other up. Their victory isn't a neat triumph. It's paid for in hard work, anonymity, and heartbreak. The show is painstakingly researched, using the sisters' own letters and diaries to recreate every flicker of hope and shadow of doubt. The visuals are moody and immersive, right down to the cracked plaster and rain-soaked moors. You can feel the creative tension in the air. Why isn't this drama a household name? Maybe because it doesn't romanticize the struggle. It shows how much brilliance was required just to be heard, and how many stories history nearly erased. This is more than a costume drama. It's a call to remember the rebels hiding in plain sight. Olive Kiddage, 2014. Who says period dramas need royalty and romance? Olive Kiddage proves the most epic battles can happen on a quiet street in small-town Maine. Spanning 3 decades, this HBO miniseries isn't about kings and castles. It's about the secret wars inside marriages, families, and your own heart. Frances McDormand plays Olive, a retired schoolteacher whose blunt honesty slices through every fake smile and awkward silence. She's gruff, often unlikable, but always real. The story unfolds in moments both ordinary and profound. A passing glance, a dinner argument, a walk by the sea. Depression, betrayal, and loss are not swept aside. They're examined, dissected, and sometimes just survived. The show is based on Elizabeth Strout's Pulitzer-winning stories, themselves inspired by the quiet heroism of everyday people. Olive isn't a saint, but she's unforgettable. Her journey is as messy as real life, filled with regrets, second chances, and the slow realization that love is never simple. Why does Olive Kiddage fly under the radar? Maybe because it refuses easy answers. There's no tidy redemption, just the hard work of living and forgiving. In a genre full of fantasy, Olive brings the truth, raw, unresolved, and utterly human. Small Axe, Red, White, and Blue, 2020. History isn't always ancient, and not every period drama has a happy ending. Small Axe. Red, White, and Blue rips open the story of 1980s London and the real-life struggle of Leroy Logan, one of the city's first black police officers. This isn't a victory lap, it's a minefield. Leroy joins the police not because he loves the system, but because he wants to fix it from the inside. That choice sends shockwaves through his community and his own family, many of whom have experienced police racism firsthand. On the job, he faces hostility from every angle: racist colleagues, skeptical friends, and a society that would rather look away. John Boyega's performance as Logan is electric, determined, frustrated, and quietly heroic. The period details are perfect, from the uniforms to the slang to the boiling tension in the air. Steve McQueen's direction never lets you off the hook. Every scene is grounded in interviews and community stories, giving the drama a jolt of reality you can't shake. Why isn't this episode on everyone's watch list? Maybe because it asks uncomfortable questions about progress, loyalty, and what it really costs to try to change a broken world. It's a drama with no easy wins, just the truth, unvarnished and unforgettable. The Physician, 2013. Tired of period dramas set in ballrooms? The Physician drags you to the mud, blood, and ambition of the 11th century. Based on Noah Gordon's novel and true stories of medical pioneers, this epic follows Rob Cole, an English orphan who risks everything to learn real medicine in a world ruled by superstition. Rob's journey takes him from plague-haunted England to Persia, where knowledge is guarded like treasure, and the legendary Dr. Ibn Sina holds the secrets of science. To get there, Rob disguises himself, braves religious hostility, and nearly dies more than once. The movie's grandeur is grounded in real history. Students did travel thousands of miles to study with great scholars, and Avicenna's hospital really changed medicine forever. What sets The Physician apart is its sense of danger. Knowledge is power, and power is always under threat, from ignorance, prejudice, and greed. Tom Paine's Rob is driven by curiosity. Ben Kingsley's Ibn Sina is wisdom made flesh, and every scene drips with the urgency of survival. Why isn't this movie mentioned more? Maybe because it refuses to be pigeonholed. It's not a polite drama, it's an adventure, a history lesson, and a warning. Progress is never easy, and sometimes it's deadly. If you want a period drama that takes real risks, this is your ticket. Suffragette 2015. History loves to gloss over the mess, but Suffragette won't let you forget how fierce and dangerous the fight for women's rights really was. Set in Edwardian England, this film follows factory worker Maud Watts as she swept into the front lines of the suffrage movement. This isn't about highborn ladies with time to spare. It's about ordinary women, risking jobs, families, and freedom for a chance at dignity. Every detail in Suffragette is grounded in the actual tactics and diaries of real activists. Women are arrested, beaten, force-fed, and ostracized for daring to demand the vote. Carey Mulligan's Maud is a stand-in for countless women who sacrificed everything. Helena Bonham Carter and Meryl Streep add more star power, but the real spotlight is on the gritty, exhausting grind of protest. The film doesn't sugarcoat the struggle. Every victory is bittersweet. Every setback feels personal. The tension builds until you realize history isn't made by speeches, but by people who refuse to give up, even when the cost is unbearable. Why is Suffragette underrated? Maybe because it refuses to comfort. It shows how rights are won, not by waiting politely, but by smashing windows and refusing to be silent. This is history that bruises and history that matters. So there you have it, 8 period dramas that rip the dusty cover off history and show you the chaos, heartbreak, and raw humanity beneath. Forget the fairy tales and polished nostalgia. These stories prove that the truth is always messier, braver, and more jaw-dropping than fiction. Now it's your turn. Which of these will you watch first? Drop your thoughts, subscribe for more bold takes, and share this list with a friend who thinks they've seen it all. History just got a whole lot wilder.